Hello everyone, today I want to talk to you about what compounded relational CPTSD really is and why healing can't happen alone. Let's talk about trauma, but not the way it's usually explained. Most people have heard of PTSD. Some people have heard of complex PTSD. But what many people are actually living with has no widely accepted names yet. I call it compounded relational CPTSD. And once you understand it, a lot of things suddenly make sense. First, let's talk about what PTSD is and what it isn't. PTSD, in its most basic form, is the nervous system's response to overwhelming threat. Something happens that the body cannot process. A violent event, a near-death experience, a single moment where survival overrides everything else. The nervous system freezes that moment in time. The danger may not be over, but the body doesn't know that. That's PTSD. But most human suffering doesn't come from one moment, it comes from patterns. Another question is, what does complex PTSD add? Well, complex PTSD happens when trauma is repeated, inescapable, relational, happening during development, especially in childhood. Instead of one shock, there are thousands of small ones. Being ignored, being shamed, being blamed, being unsafe with caregivers, being conditionally loved, being unseen. There is no after. There is no safe baseline to return to. The nervous system develops inside threat. Hence, the hypervigilance and anxiety and depression happens. Now let's take a look at what relational means and why it's central. Here's the part most models miss. Human beings do not build identity in isolation. As children, we learn who we are through mirrors. We discover ourselves through how we are looked at, how we responded to, what emotions are welcomed or punished, what parts of us are mirrored back with care. If the mirror is clear, we develop coherence. We feel comfortable in our own skin. But if the mirror is distorted and skewed, rejecting, absent, or dangerous, we internalize that distortion, and we don't even know it's distortion. We think it's reality, especially when the systems like school, clinics, and work repeat the same messages that our parents embedded in us. They all say, "We are doing this for your own good," as though harming us to fit into the mold and work hard is a value. In capitalist worldview, hard work is survival. However, our parents completely missed the meaning by being trapped in the grind of life. Because they had children and they didn't have time to pause and feel. They couldn't feel their own pain. Thus, we grew up just like them, unable to validate our pain and empathize with others. We learn to gaslight ourselves and minimize our pain. So relational trauma isn't just bad experiences with people. It's the loss of selfhood, and it makes us wear a mask to hide the dejected self to fit in. It's identity damage. Now let's talk about CRC-PTSD, compounded relational trauma. Why I say compounded? Okay, let's add this layer. Relational trauma doesn't stop at childhood, it compounds. School systems that shame, medical systems that dismiss, workplaces that exploit, institutions that gaslit, bureaucracies that deny reality, people who have fully been gaslit to believe in the capitalist narratives of success and worth, the money-worshipping society that has lost touch with the immense pain in the world. Now with this, many of us think money is everything, and that's fine. But pause for a second. Will money ever be able to replace feeling loved and feeling that you truly belong? Can you ever be yourself with others when your focus is money? Can money fill that void in you? Money can help fix many things, but deep down we all know it's a collective illusion, and that if all of us decide that there will be no currency starting tomorrow, it will collapse forever. Same goes to land ownership and patented knowledge. Ultimately, all the wounds accumulated from countless asking for help and getting flat impersonal responses that reinforce your original wound that you are too much or you are the problem, that your pain is not real, that you need to adapt or disappear, they intensify the pain. You're denied by insurance, by public services. There's no affordable housing, schools, and even charities all crash your dignity. But more than that, they all break your trust in humanity. You feel so lonely and wonder why nobody cares. Then you start blaming yourself because others do so to get rid of their own guilt. So you take the blame for them feeling uncomfortable for not helping you. Trauma stacks, betrayal stacks, invalidation stacks. That's compounded trauma. And it changes through how meaning itself functions. The loss of meaning is the deepest injury that is the part almost no one talks about. CRC-PTSD isn't just fear or anxiety. It's loss of meaning. When your reality is denied repeatedly, your emotions are pathologized, your truth is ignored, your needs are treated as burdens, your nervous system doesn't just become dysregulated, it becomes disoriented. You stop trusting your perception, your memories, your emotions, your intuition, your body, and then meaning collapses. In CRC-PTSD, values become skewed, and since we are so indoctrinated to the lies of human worth based on capital, we forget we are souls. We forget that souls outlast bodies, and that is not the end. We all will continually live through others who come after us. The stardust that we are, all the things that each molecule of our body has belonged to before, they might lose their organization as a body, but they will take part into the future, new people, new animals, grass, earth. Our footprints and our kindness or the hurt we cause lives through all those who come in contact with us. We make meaning together, and to think we can separate ourselves from the harm we cause is just an illusion. That is why you cannot heal this alone. This is crucial. CRC-PTSD does not heal through willpower. It does not heal through insight alone. It does not heal through self-talk or affirmations or CBT or DBT alone. Because the injury happened between people. Healing requires being seen accurately, being believed, having your story reflected back without distortion, having someone hold your truth without trying to fix or minimize it. You can't mirror yourself out of relational erasure. It's our human nature to seek connection. That's why isolation makes things worse. Humans are wired for co-regulation and recognition. A baby can only make sense of the world through what their parents reflect back to them. A child learns to regulate only if the parents know how to do it themselves. Most of our parents were so confined in life commitments and the distorted narratives of worth that they didn't have time to sit with their fears. They held on to the security of the demons they knew because freedom requires relinquishing control. It was probably more livable at their time, but we inherited a world that is so dysfunctional and painful that we see millions of people dying every day for the lack of resources and wars, and ourselves, we are suffering. We are exhausted from constant masking and behaving just to survive. This is not livable anymore. Now I want to share a very famous rat park experiment. That way you will know why context matters more than pathology. There's a famous experiment called rat park. Researchers put rats alone in small cages with 2 water bottles, one with plain water and one with drug-laced water. The isolated rats consumed the drug compulsively until they almost died. Then researchers changed one thing. They created rat park. Space, social connections, play, simulation, safety, same drugs, same rats. But the addiction disappeared. Rats preferred to socialize and go out and have fun. Humans are not rats, yet it makes sense for humans to prefer sobriety to substances. No human being grows up wishing to struggle with an addiction or depression or crime. No child wishes to do bad. Humans get addicted to relief. Substances provide temporary relief in a world that is so unbearable, especially if you were born in a family that has struggled with self-regulation. CRC-PTSD is the same principle. When the environment remains unsafe, the nervous system remains trapped and looks for familiarity and relief. Now let's talk about the common symptoms of compounded relational cPTSD. There are 27 symptoms of CRC-PTSD that I name in my book, but I'm sure there are so many more. I just can't individualize it to the level of the whole population on Earth. It's different with everybody. I'm going to name some of the symptoms. I'm going to share a screenshot of the symptoms that I made for a quick review. So people with CRC-PTSD often experience chronic nervous system dysregulation, hypervigilance or collapse, emotional numbing or overwhelm, shame that feels existential, not situational, difficulty trusting their own perception, deep loneliness even around others, trauma-bonded compliance, people-pleasing or withdrawal, chronic fatigue and brain fog, dissociation or depersonalization, loss of motivation and meaning, grief without a clear object, anger turned inward, fear of being seen and fear of being invisible, difficulty asking for help, feeling too much and not enough at the same time, and often a sense that life feels unreal, flattened, or hollow, the void that never fills. Let's talk about why pathologizing makes it worse. When systems label these responses as disorders without naming the relational injury and the systemic betrayal, they repeat the original harm. They say the problem is inside you. But CRC-PTSD is not a malfunction. It's a logical response to a prolonged relational threat. Your nervous system learned exactly what it needs to learn to survive. Your body reacts to the same threat accurately. It adapts to brace before a hit. Psychological pain activates the same regions in brain as physiological pain, but the way society treats mental agony as if it is in your head is yet another gaslighting. The tragedy is not the adaptation. The tragedy is how the system gaslit us to believe it's all our fault because we are defective, not the other way around. The beginning of healing is when your reality is named, your story is witnessed, your reactions are understood as protective, your meaning is restored through connection. You can express your anger safely and you can expect responsibility and accountability for being harmed. Those are the conditions we need for healing. Toxic positivity doesn't work. Beautiful mission statements are empty. We are a team isn't enough. Actions talk louder than words. Emails pretending it didn't happen or that you are too sensitive or that the action taken need to be private because they cannot share the information, or police not even taking a report in court, not listening to you because you don't have money to hire a good lawyer. Those are not proof that you are guilty. Those are proof that the system is harming us and then is gaslighting us to believe it's all our fault if we were richer. But they have made getting rich inaccessible. These are all evidence of abuse in the system. But through truth held in relationships, not just one person, but all of us saying it together and backing each other, we can escape this bystander effect at least. We all need to start saying the truth that we are being harmed, that it is not okay for the system to harm us, that we need to heal, that we are losing meaning, and to find it, we need to reconnect with ourselves and with other human beings in a very conscious presence way. That's how nervous systems finally exhale. If any of this resonated with you, there is nothing wrong with you. You are not defected or weak, and you are not imagining it. You are responding to a relational world that forgot how to see pain. And being seen accurately, gently, truthfully is not a luxury. It is how we survive and how things need to be. Please sprinkle some love and subscribe if you are not subscribed, and I see you next time.